Usual postings. Reconnecting. There we go. Awesome. Now to get on here so that I can. There we are. See messages. I do not want top chat. I want live chat. Greetings all. Awesome. I still have that problem. A chat thing will pop up for half second and go away. I'm not able to see any of it, so I have to log into myself so I can see it up here on my computer. All right. All right, guys, if you look in the description below, you will notice something interesting. It may or may not be new to you, but it is new. It is a new thing. But I've been doing it. I've been doing this since we started at air temperature. This is interesting. So I keep my house really, really, really cold, and I absolutely love it because to feel that sting means I'm not dead. So anyway, if you look down in the description, lighting. If you look down in the description, you will see our contest. Now, we haven't had a whole lot of participation in this contest, but that's actually a good thing. What that means is that the people that have a better chance of actually winning the thing. So go back to A or B or something like that. Watch that one because it gives you some more detail about what's being given in the contest, what the contest parameters are, and a little bit. I think it's C. It might be B. That you'll have to look. One of them actually, I take the prize, the contest prize apart. I show all the parts to it, everything that you'll be getting, all the different things that are pretty freaking awesome. What I will do is I may actually do my tea here. It's quite warm. What I may do is include a video coming after the end, after Z. So we've only got 3 left. So coming in after Z, I may do a video on how to use it, all the parts to this kit, in basic usage, not anything basic utilitarian usage, because there is a decorative version, a decorative way in which you can use this kit, but it's not. I don't really deal much with the decorative version of usage. So this one today might be a little bit short. We're at the 1 o'clock mark, so hurrah! Good job, good going. Hope everyone's on that wants to be on. That's not what I want to do. I've got a little bit of moment, so let me go ahead and there we go. Oh, come on. That's not what I'm looking for. Well, okay. Today should be a little short, just because the message itself is the message itself is quite, it's not, I don't want to say simple, because that's one of the weird things about things that are simple. Um, they're not easy. Oftentimes, the simplest things are not the easiest things on the planet. I can't not get comfortable. Let's try this. All right. So, in the woods, this is Bushcraft A to Z, and today's letter is X. And we've already done some stuff on orienteering and mapping and stuff like this. So I'm going to say, go ahead and squash the idea that this is about X marks the spot. No, no, it's not that one. It is the second letter, and this is the only one that does that, of my topic. Topic is examine nature closely. Oh, that's good. So let's get down to the nitty gritty of the things then. If we are going into nature and if we're going camping with our buddies and we go camping and we make the campfire and set up everything and we have the music going and we're talking loudly and big campfire and we got all the drinks there that are, if we're there to bring city to the nature, we're doing it wrong. Um, just, I'm not sorry to tell you, you're doing it wrong. Please stop doing it that way. Um, Nature is something to be respected, something to be um, admired for its beauty, for its strength. You'll see. I mean, this is the interesting thing. Is like you'll go to, in one of the books that I've read. I believe it's the Tracker, but it might be for another one by Tom Brown Jr. One of his novels. There was a point where he came upon this land that had been burned out, like there was a wildfire, and it was terrible. Like he was talking, he was saying all the words of the emotional words of this is word worst that I could think of. I went down on my knees. I started crying. Blah 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 blah. I hate saying it that way, but it's what the book says. Um, and the emotions behind seeing all that death and char. Um, that is let me say that is a valid way to look at things, but also a less mature way to look at them. So let's break that down. Because the second half of what he was showing later on, a couple paragraph or two later or something like that, grandfather, his spiritual grandfather, I guess you would call it, not his real grandfather, but he called him grandfather, Stalking Wolf. Um, Came across him when he was this way, and then said, I see that you're crying over this charred earth. What seems to be the problem? And Tom Brown Jr. says, well, this is the earth. It's terrible. It's terrible what happened to this earth. This wildfire came along and demolished everything, and it was just terrible. And this desecration of life type thinking. So grandfather listened to him as he always does, and then said, "Down there, do you see that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I see it. Charred earth. I see the charcoal of the wood that was burnt." And then he looks closer and goes, "No, no, no, that." And the funny thing is it was a little sprig of life that had grown up. And then grandfather talks about how nature cycles aren't something to be uh, admonished or hated or vilified or any of that, or just they're not meant to be these things that you say this is a terrible thing, because it's not, because nature heals itself. And there are people out there on this planet that would have you think that you're not part of nature, and that's just wrong. That's just absolute hogwash, bull crap. So let's look at that from a existential point of view. So not existential, but how we can apply that, how we can see that in our lives being applied, and maybe change our perspective a little bit. So the wildfire happened. As a result, there's carbon char on the surface and lots of sun coming down because there's no trees there to block the sun, right? And all of a sudden, these seeds that were dormant, that have been dormant for hundreds of years, start going, ha, now's my time. It's time. So the earth is and if you think about it too, the falling of the trees hitting the earth, breaking up the earth a little bit, is also a part of that. So you get a tillage, so the tilling of the earth in a way. You get more sunlight and more carbon deposits, allowing plant life to grow. Seeds that have been dormant to grow. So today's letter is X, and where our topic is examine nature closely. And part of this is seeing the resilience of nature and how that resilience can apply to our lives. So we're nature in physical form, just like every other piece of nature is also in physical form. We're all here. If we were made of metal, if we were androids, robots, right? Let's do a little thought experiment here. Imagine if we were made of metal and plastic and wiring and electricity. The battery, we're made of electricity, but we had man-made batteries and all this other stuff. If we had that, then what would happen if a piece got broke, right? Not right. Not good. All right, let's go back here. Oh wait, no, it's this one, that one, that one. Okay. All right. Back on track. Let's say an actuator in our arm that made the arm do this, or that constituted the structure of the arm. Let's say it broke, right? if we had a robot body, what would we have to do to be functional again? Find a part to replace it, take the arm off, replace the part, put the arm back on. We don't do that. As organic human beings, we get a broken arm, and all we have to do is nothing. Literally, we make sure this doesn't get moved in a cast or something like that. And then we go about our lives. We still eat, we still sleep, we still do those other things. But we don't do anything with this. That's it. That's all we got to do is immobilize. And it will heal back. Stronger, technically. Broken bones will never break in the same spot if it was healed completely the first time. Let me phrase that. If it's partially healed, it'll get broken. It's still the weak link. But once it's completely fully healed, it becomes the strong link. So something else has to break. So we're as resilient. If we examine nature closely, we are as resilient as we can be, and we are nature. So we get hurt, we heal back. I've got wounds from other things here, and they all just heal. The whole purpose, the whole concept of being alive means you get to continue being alive. We've got this other thing in our DNA called telomeres that shorten over our lifetime, and as a result, we will die of old age. Things start breaking up and things like that. But that's beside the point. Interesting. So that's a different thing for a different time. But anyway, examine nature closely. Pay attention. Look at some of the things about nature that makes our day and our life better as a result of it. I'm using nature right here. This is an echinacea tea bag. So echinacea is good for respiratory diseases, which is something I have right now. I thought I might have to postpone this episode, but I've been taking my medicines, and it's weird. I've been taking my medicines, and let me check something right here. There it is. Am I still on? Am I still on? Okay, cool. So looks like that's good. Excuse me. Nope. Here we go. Cool. So that's one thing to pay attention to, and la la la. What am I thinking? Weather, examine nature closely. All right, that's about it. That's all we got. So I hope it's been good, and I hope that we've just got two more. So I want to say something very important. I'm going to say it the next time and the next time, last three times, X, Y, and Z. I hope I've helped you understand a little bit more about bushcraft and how to best do bushcraft. But more than that, I hope I've disappointed you. I hope you come on to these lives or watch this after the fact, and I hope you go, oh my God, I could have done so much better. Okay, do it. Do better. If you think you can, and if you think you can do anything better, anything in this planet, right? Better than anyone else, right? At any moment in time that you think you can do something better and you don't prove it, then you will never know. The world will also never know. I've got to work on my presentation skills. I got it. I've got to work on my scheduling. I've got that. I understand that that's the thing to work on. There's a lot to work on. Basically, the only thing I ever had was this list. I didn't put together stuff of like what to start off with, what to end with. I had certain things that maybe were check boxes in my mind where I was like, okay, let me make sure I talk about the contest and things like that. That's it. It's been very unstructured and very flowy, so to speak. Um, that's important though. You need to be able to find the things that you think you can do better with or that can be done better. Um, let me put it out there. Okay. Comment down below in the at any of my videos. Go ahead and critique all of them. I don't give a crap. Caveat: if you're gonna tell me how I'm doing wrong, you must also say what what path you think I should be able to take in order to correct that wrong. Okay? That's it. I'm not telling you you're wrong by telling me I'm wrong, which is weird. Not going that route or anything like this. If you think I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But don't just say it. Well, you're wrong. That has no power. That has no strength in it. That's an opinion, and anybody can have an opinion. It's opinions are like noses. Some people use different body parts. Opinions are like noses. We all have them. Okay, so you can voice whatever opinion you want, but you've got to back it up. If you can back it up, then if if you just crap on me, so be it. You've helped my algorithm. Thank you very much. If you see something that I've done wrong and you notice it and go, okay, and you're like any of my videos that you've got that you watch of mine, watch the video, say, okay, you could done, down in the comment box, what any of the videos, down in the comment box, um, say, this is right about this time, and put times on there too if you want. You can put times, put 00, a colon, and then so put like if it's 2 minutes 16 seconds, put 02 colon 16 space, and it will give me a tag right there. That thing will tag that location in the video. Really cool. So if you do that and go like at this time you did this thing, and I think you could have done better with that, and this is how I think you could have done better. Do that. I will go down there. I will heart that mother craziness. Mm-hmm. I will heart that awesome thing, and then I will look at that and go like, "That's right. I need to change that. I need to change how I figure, how I think, so that I can change that from a more basic point of view." And then rock on, because see, that's how we get better. No one gets better if they're like, "You're terrible." What good does that do? Really? does nothing. It does, it's crap. But if you go, you're terrible, here's why. That's a different thing. Then if you go, you're terrible, here's why, and here's what I think you can do to make it better. That's a totally different thing. Anyway, I think I've went off tangent for a second, but that's all right. We have effectively today's letter, and the next letter is the Y, and then there's Z, and we'll be done. So I hope you've enjoyed the time. I hope you've been disappointed by the time, and I hope that I get to see you do the very same thing in your own way. All right. Never forget. Never forget. No, what's the word? What is it I always say? Get lost, but never lose your way.